Well, welcome to another Business TV business show. Goodness me, that's a bit of a mouthful, Gerhard.
Well, show number 15, it feels like yesterday when we started.
I know, and today is all about having the confidence to get that freedom you want. It's going to be a great show. Don't go anywhere. Well, here we are again on Business Television. Today's all about confidence to get that freedom that you want to have. You know, living life the way you want to and on your terms, Gerhard. We've got some great guests on the show this week again.
It's so important to have that confidence. And for me, you get confidence when you try things. And have you, for example, have a mentor or coach helping you to try new things and then get a confidence to do things, and especially trusting your gut.
That's going to be your 60-second question, I believe, on today's show. And it is getting confidence. I mean, it is difficult even doing a show like this when you're in two different studios, for instance, trying to know when the other one's speaking and when the other one's not. But we decided to mix today's show up a little bit as well as our guests. Now, we're going to be starting to do some specials. Now, we filmed this before COVID-19, went out to see the Freemasons Tavern at Beverley. And we want to do a few more of these promoting local businesses, local business attractions to try and support West Australians here. So even if you're overseas, you might find these quite interesting as well. I think it's going to put a different flavour on the TV show, Gerhard.
It's just something different, and you might find something that you see on this documentary, I think if we can coin it like that, that you can use in your business as well. It's always trying something new.
It is. And talking about trying something new, we have our very first guest, Helia Singh. Yes, she is our famous wealth coach. And she is about trying something new so you can experience that freedom and having the confidence to get freedom. Let's cut to Helia right now. Well, we're back in the studio with Helia Singh. How are you, Helia?
I'm great, thank you, Michael.
Well, I keep going on this fantastic video you did on YouTube, Golden Values, Shadow Values. I was listening through, and one thing you said about a shadow value was freedom. Now, lots of people get negative connotations. They feel like that could be selfish. And you got people to understand what freedom is all about. And I just wondered if here you could give us a bit of a snapshot, a bit of an insight for people, that freedom, the things you may feel negative about, maybe the control issue, says Michael, and how you've turned that around and helped people get that financial freedom in particular.
Great question, Michael. You see, freedom, if you look at it as a value, and many people and all the wars basically in the world happened because people were freedom fighters, such as, and that's such a great and golden values. But the other side of coin is about control. Who wanted to control, let's say, their border in the country, if we're talking about the freedom fighters. But when you talk about financial freedom, means you want to control your money. And I always talk about this, that financial freedom is not about how much money you have in the bank account. It's about how much money makes you comfortable and free, that you don't have to worry about your life. So for one person could be $100,000, for one person $50,000, for another person $500,000 or a couple of $1 billion. So that's why there is no number on financial freedom. It all goes back to the control and the control that you have in your life, what you want to do with it. Because the way you want to spend your retirement completely is different to the way I want to spend my retirement and someone else. That control is the biggest factor here.
So when people may find themselves have a psychological pushback on that word control, because it's normally in a negative, you know, you're a control freak and all the rest of it, you've got control issues. I think I've been told that.
Oh, me too, sure.
You're teaching people to understand what that control is really about in a positive sense.
Oh, for sure. That's why, let's say if somebody, we find out, okay, yes, they want to have financial freedom, which we know the biggest issue underlying there is control. But if they haven't earned enough money, or they are not doing enough action, because through coaching session, obviously we give actions for people to do. And next session, when I see that they haven't done the actions, and they come up with the justification. So I know very well that, okay, this action, so either the freedom is not something they wanted, but if we really find out it was freedom and then it's control, then they say that write down 100 ways that why having money or taking this action is going to give you more control. We talk about the shadow value here.
Now, you've just said something there that just resonated with myself. Some people, because you're a financial coach, you're a wealth coach. Now, some people feel that's giving control up, but in fact, it's not. It's the actual opposite.
Exactly, Michael, spot on. To me, I inspire people, help them to take control of their finance. The main problem that people have when it comes to go see a financial planner or having faith in any, finance-related investment is just because they give it to someone else to do it, and that person did the wrong thing, or the investment didn't turn out the way they wanted, and that's why they don't have faith. But if we take control and learning, so then the expertise are out there only to help you clarify a few things, not to take control. Because after all, you are the only one who is in control of your money. You are the only one who is going to feel the pain if the money is lost.
Well, Healy, it is always fascinating to listen to Gerhard.
When you talk about freedom, I always think about when people say, what is success to you? And then I think about freedom. Freedom, financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom. So I think freedom means different things to different people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things we talked about the last show was the mentorship. And we've got our mentorship program there. We get the trainings, videos, but you also get the group mentorship, so you actually get the confidence to get that freedom. And our next guest is talking about confidence to grow. And Gerhard, it's Andrew Ford.
I always love listening to Andrew. There's always more than one golden nugget that you can use in your business.
Well, we're back with Andrew Ford. Ford and Doonan, how are you, Andrew?
Well, Michael?
Oh, wow. I think the last show, listening to customers, what a huge piece of advice that was.
Sounds obvious, but we don't always do it, do we?
Sometimes we forget about it, don't we? Yeah. Look, one of the questions comes to, you and Carl have been very successful, obviously taken risks to grow a business to where you've become a household name in Western Australia, and got delighted customers all over the place who just rave about you. Me being one of them, by the way.
Thank you.
When the business owner that's setting off, where do you get the confidence to turn yourself in from the mechanics who's servicing to suddenly going, you know what, we can be more than this and better than this, if that's the right way? Yeah. Where does that confidence come from?
I think that's one of the keys to whether a business person is going to be successful, not successful, or just average. So it's a very hard one. I think it really has got to come from within, and we're sort of pre-wired or a disposition to that, to think laterally and just to back yourself. So whether that's the way we're brought up, I'm honestly not sure. But it's definitely a confidence and a mild arrogance without the arrogance being evident, obviously. And just back yourself and just go, I can do this, and I know enough about this subject or the industry that you're in. And it also helps to identify what you think you can do differently to somebody else. So Barry Gerhard, marketing consultant, I remember, says all the time, it's better to be different than it is to be better. So whilst it's great to be the best, and that's what we all strive for, equally as important is differentiating yourself.
When you go to market, and especially with something like Ford and Doonan, the quality is just well above. Do you have fears that you've got that high level quality in a product like an air conditioning and ducted, that customers may not respond to the quality? What happens to the business owner who says, I'm just afraid to up it a little bit like you guys did?
It is very tempting to get caught into that. We've got to compete on price. And it happens to virtually every business, I think, almost every single day. And it takes a few years to get used to being clobbered on price, and if it was purely price, we wouldn't be as successful as what we are. So then you have to deliver the message, the buying, compelling reason why they should potentially pay a little bit more for the reasons and the benefits. And that's always the challenge, the way you present it, the way you market that message as well. So you can't just do it and go, okay, we're better than everyone else, but then they go, well, I don't know you are. You look just the same as all the others. So it is a challenge to always come up with something new in that marketing message and the way you present the quotes and that sort of thing.
It's interesting because you mentioned quality there when you're talking. And I suppose a few people that may not get to your level yet, and you've had so much experience, they're going, how do I identify qualities? How did Ford and Doonan identify the qualities they felt their customers would value? And what are they?
It's a really good question. Because we started the business as service technicians, myself and Kyle Doonan, we were fixing jobs that were just installed so poorly. So it was really just became so evident to us that it's easy to soar like an eagle when you work with turkeys, as the saying goes. So it was quite easy for us that it was going, why are we even fixing this? This should not have failed after year 5, for example. It should last 10 years. And then we just tweaked it from there. So, okay, if we did this, it'll last better, or this bit's going to be better quality if we buy it from a different supplier. So it's a matter of identifying what you and your industry may already be doing and look for the weaknesses in that industry space.
And obviously the customers have responded because an air conditioner isn't about, well, one, it adds value to a house. 2, you don't want it breaking down every 3, 4, 5 years. And yours, you suddenly doubled and tripled lifespans, and people are going, this is amazing.
That's right. We still work on systems that myself and Kyle used to put in 30 years ago when we're still on the tools, and they're still working, albeit only just. And sometimes those clients, Mrs. Petman Grove or something, might bring out the original quote still with the drawing of a hand drawing, which we did back then. And it's so cute. And they're saying, oh, is he still around? They're amazed that the original founders are still in the business as well.
So Ford and Doonan's success, and that you'd pass on the advice to another business owner, is look for the, maybe not the failings, but the
weaknesses.
The weaknesses.
Yeah. Going back to listening to your clients again, is do the clients continually ask the same question that is so obvious to you, but obviously it isn't to them, that even if you just gave them some documentation at the end of the job that you've done for them, whatever that job may be, that overcome that question and save them even asking it. Just little things like that. And things we did straight away in our business was the operating manuals that come in the box from the air conditioner, written back then in Japanese English. And most suppliers will unrip the box if they even remember to give the client the manual. It was a very poor quality manual. It was purely specifically on the air conditioning unit. We straight away threw that in the bin and created our own one. So it was a point of difference. We didn't just tell them how to use the air conditioner. We told them how they could get the best performance out of the air conditioner. Running costs, running tips, and that sort of how to reduce the running costs. So straight away to say, well, that manual's pretty ordinary. I think we can do better, and it was easy to do better. That's a classic example of just what a common. Just listen again to your customer.
Wow. No wonder Ford and Doonan's had 35 years of success. Thank you so much, Andrew. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, Andrew Ford, getting the confidence to grow your business. Absolutely fascinating, that one, Gerhard.
To get a confidence to grow, I think people need to realize is that you are going to make mistakes, and those mistakes mustn't be seen as failures. It must be seen as a learning from your mistakes, so you don't do it again. But confidence, you are going to make mistakes. It's not, when people talk about confidence in successful businesses, there's some failures throughout this process. So just don't, if you have a failure, stop thinking about, well, I'm a failure. It's about that confidence to go ahead.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that people come, because we have 101 Media Group, obviously producing this TV show, but we also got 101 Business Radio. And we often say to people, this is a good place to start. Look, we've got about 3.8 million listeners worldwide now on that radio station. But when people come in, the first thing we teach in the skill set is finding your voice, finding your story within you, and then be able to vocalize that and actually speak it. Because it's a lot different, Gerhard, in getting it inside your head and getting it out so you can actually speak the words. And I think the radio training we give people and getting them on there and speaking, getting a regular segment, really helps them get that confidence.
But also, the more you do it, the more confident you become. And then, like you say, you have a voice, because a lot of people have got a message, but they don't have a channel to let that message out. And this is a great way to let people know about your message.
Absolutely. Look, if you'd like to appear on the radio, if you'd like to come in and get some training, and we are a media group, so we do everything from TV commercials to social media commercials to running a radio station. We interview from people from all around the world, so we know how to structure interviews. We can actually teach you how to get your story structured correctly. So and look, I'm a journalist as well, so we actually know the right way of doing it, not just made up way.
But also, if you know your story, you will have the confidence to tell it.
Yeah, and we get you to tell it in the right way. Now, people who do have confidence, some of our very special guests, you put them under the pump, corral them in, as we always like to say, on your 60-second question of the week. They get 60 seconds or less to answer it. What did you ask them this week, Gerhard?
How important is it to trust your gut?
Very interesting question. I actually read something recently that we have 3 brains: our normal brain, our heart brain, and our gut brain. And the combination of these 3, each of them are in charge of different area in life. So the gut one is very, very important, because if you don't feel something right, trust your gut feeling, so stay away from it. But this is different to feeling anxiety and you're not sure about something, but the gut feeling, learn to trust it. That's something I really suggest people to do. So.
It's absolutely crucial. We all have that feeling and we know it. The question is just, do we actually pay attention? So it is important that you take the time out and that you become quiet enough so that you can hear that little voice. But very important, it is there to assist and to help you to be the best. So trust your gut, listen to what it's saying.
Very important. I've gone against my gut many times over my 35 years in business, and inevitably it was right. So I now instinctively listen to that first, and really if I'm going against it, it has to be a very valid reason with much more research than normal.
Well, I absolutely love those questions, Gerhard. And what amazes me is the people that are successful and got that confidence in how they're able to answer it in their own words.
Exactly. And if you don't trust your gut, this exercise that you can do is that if you find something and you have that gut feeling, take your diary, go to the back and just write this date, this is what I felt. 6 months later, go back and just see if you were right or wrong. I don't think everybody is always 100% correct, but if you have like a 90-95% correct, start trusting your gut.
Yeah. One of the things that we find is, and you'll notice that these people are successful, are doing podcasts, are doing radio interviews, are coming on TV shows like ours. And look, it's hard to get in front of a video camera the first off and come off professional. Even I fall over my tongue sometimes, and maybe people go, really? But our experience of producing TV commercials, on commercial television, actually doing things for social media, doing this show for you guys. We've also got our radio station. And the radio station is the starting platform. It is a really good starting platform to get that confidence, find your voice, and trust in your own gut. And we can teach you how to do it properly. Give us a call. We'd love to get you on there and help you find your story and find your voice. And you will start to be able to trust your gut as well. I just think it's a great option. And you don't have to be nervous. How many listeners we got, Gerhard? About 3.8 million?
Only 3.8 million. But when I started the journey with Michael, I could not listen to my podcast or to my videos. I had to ask my wife, just see if it's okay. And she said, please just listen to it. And it took me a few months for me to actually sit down and listen and listen to the content. Because when you speak sometimes, you don't realize how much content you give out and how much information. And then afterwards, listening to it, it's just amazing how much you actually give.
Yeah. And I think it's one of them things, isn't it, that the more confident you get of coming onto TVs like this and commercial television, or getting onto internet radio and speaking to people all around the world, I really think it comes from the way you think. And we're able to cross to Anne-Marie in South Africa, and she's saying that yes, it's the way you think will actually determine your outcomes. So we want to help you through that journey. But this is a great interview, Gerhard, where we actually crossed to South Africa and spoke to Anne-Marie there, who does mind skills coaching. And she talks about just this thing. How you think determines your outcomes.
Well, we're back to South Africa early in the morning. What time in the morning is it over there, Anne-Marie?
It's just after 7,
Oh,
Michael.
okay. So you're into brunch.
Nice and early. Yeah.
Well, I know you're an early starter. One of the things that have come from the last conversations we've been having, especially around emotional intelligence and the conversational intelligence and dealing with stress you've talked about, is it's come back to thinking. And I think there's a thing that goes around that says how you think is how you become. I think there might even be a book around it somewhere or similar to that title. What is this thinking and how does it actually influence the outcomes that we experience as people?
Yeah. Michael, you're quite right. There's so many literature from Gandhi to Ford to, I mean, everyone, there's so much information around that because it's so crucial. Interesting that we live our lives 70% subconsciously, we're on sort of autopilot, and 30% consciously in our critical thinking. And the interesting that the subconscious thinking drives the outcome. And the subconscious thinking might very often be based on belief systems or fears that we have around ourselves. And that then put us in an away state in the brain, and that influences the outcomes.
You mentioned then about belief systems, and I've read articles where belief systems they're actually ingrained in us as we grow up. Can belief systems and those subconscious patterns be changed, or are they kind of locked in and we've got to work around them?
Look, they're pretty much locked in. But there is a way around it, because if there wasn't, we wouldn't be able to change. So our brains are phenomenal. We can rewire all the time. So we can rewire that belief system as well, without a doubt. But it does take thinking and commitment, and people really have to be committed to delve a bit deeper than just their normal autopilot thinking, to see what's at the root of it. But definitely in a process of coaching, you can get to what is at the bottom of it, so that firstly you can just become aware of that. And very often just by awareness, you don't necessarily have to fix it, but you just understand what is driving you.
Is this when we hear people talk about self-sabotage? It's not that they're deliberately doing something against themselves. It's they may have, say like money, they may have attached a belief system that money is evil and money does wrong and bad and only rich people are nasty. And I'm just using that as one of the probably common examples. But is it this that isn't, it's not really self-sabotage on purpose, it's that the belief may be misaligned for whatever reason?
For sure. And that belief system sits in the subconscious. So you don't even realize that that's what you're doing. But absolutely, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it's almost as if you expect it. I coached an executive, a male executive, 55 years old, and he expected to be fired. And the CEO said to me, "You better coach this guy. I didn't want to fire him, but if he carries on like this, I am." So your belief system truly, truly drives the outcome. That's what you call a self-fulfilling prophecy. It becomes true, that which you fear.
Emery, is there a flip side to this, that sometimes we want to get rich, say we're a business owner, we want to get rich, but now we feel guilty about that inner desire, so we try to do the opposite. Now we try to squash it down because we think that makes us a bad person. Is there two sides to this coin that we have to deal with?
Yeah, and I think that's also why people have these affirmations. So the flip side would be strong positive affirmations, that you literally override the message that you're getting from your subconscious. Money is evil, or it makes people bad. So it literally if you do wake up to that, it could turn it, and you could turn it into a positive affirmation. And this is how you can override this sort of belief system.
So if someone's listening and they're going, well, I'm not being successful, if we're going to coin that word, whatever that means and looks like to people, is this where you start with them, analyzing, okay, what does success really look like to you, and then starting to pick apart at these subconscious levels? How do you go about that? Is this where you start?
Yes. When people get to me in coaching, it's with an outcome already happening. You know, it's already happening that they don't get promoted, or whatever the outcome is that they have to deal with, and they're uncomfortable with that outcome. They want to change that. So through a process of conversation, we then literally reverse engineer. We see what it is, how they're acting. Then we look at what they're thinking and what they're feeling. And then we delve even deeper to what's at the root of all of that. But that is quite a long process. It could be one conversation, but it could be 6 to 8 conversations as well.
And as far as, and I really appreciate your time and giving the information to people. And I suppose one of the questions that comes up, we hear a lot of people talk similarly to this, but maybe give someone a snapshot, yourself personally, when you help coaching. How have you developed these skills? You know, what is this history? How did you get into this? Maybe just a bit of a snapshot on yourself, so people go, this is a person who actually is competent and does have my best interests at heart.
Sorry, Michael, I just want to get clarity on myself as a coach, or just coaching in general?
No, you.
Me. So for me, the whole coaching process, I must admit that my mentor is Gerhard Stoop. That is your business partner at this point. So many years ago, that happened to me, that I just felt that there has to be more, and that it is a moment of magic that you can bring to a person if they get to that insight of, oh wow, I never knew that that was what I was thinking. So to me, that process is absolutely, the coaching process is an absolute process of magic. And then you combine that with neuroscience, because a lot of people also say, you know, coaching is a bit fluffy. I've got someone of, you know, one of the CEOs of Investec here is a friend of ours, and he just doesn't believe in coaching. So when you combine it with neuroscience, it makes it more scientific. And people then, it helps people to actually understand what happens in their own brain and in the brains of other people.
Wonderful. To find out more about you, Anne-Marie, I believe your website is Mind Skills. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
But it's not, we're in Australia, so ours is always .com.au, but it is
.co.za. .co.za. Yes.
Fantastic. I'll put that link underneath. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people want to follow up on more of these conversations that we're having, and I really do appreciate your time once again. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Thank you so much, Michael. It was wonderful talking to you.
Wow, I really enjoyed talking to Anne-Marie there in South Africa, and she's from Mind Skills Coach, and she was actually talking about how you think determines your outcomes. I think that's one of the things when we set that, and we're only up to show 15, Gerhard?
Yes.
And I think last time we're getting over 2,000 views now on YouTube just on our little program. We've hardly been going.
It's amazing how it grew and grew all the time. And if you see how many people start to share it, and also what we do is we gave everybody their little clip that they share on their social media as well. So we give you content to share. It's just a win-win situation.
Absolutely. And we thought, when Gerhard was on about that sharing, we decided, you know, we obviously want to keep innovating. And one of the things we did before COVID-19 was pop out to Beverly and speak to the owner of the Freemasons Tavern out there, and she's called Beverly as well. And it was really, really interesting. We thought, why don't we start doing that and getting out and about and putting that into a show, because then it helps support other local businesses and help business people support business people like yourself. There we go, Gerhard, I'm tripping over, live TV.
But again, the response to that documentary was really well received.
Absolutely. So we're going to mix the show up a little bit today, and we're going to take you to the beautiful township of Beverley in Western Australia and the Freemasons Tavern. West Australian country towns are famous for their welcoming hospitality, and we've driven 2 hours east of Perth to visit one of WA's oldest townships, Beverley, and one of the landmark locations, the Freemasons Tavern. Well, here we are in the beautiful town of Beverley, about an hour and a half east of Perth in Western Australia, with the owner of the Freemasons Tavern here. How are you, Daphne?
I'm very well indeed, thank you.
Thanks for making the time. I know you've been so busy renovating the place, but before we talk a little bit about this, how did you end up owning a tavern in Beverley?
My husband was an investor, and if he found something that it was worthwhile having, he would go ahead and check it all out, do a lot of research on it, and then buy it.
And just buy it?
Just buy it. Say, I want it, I'm going to have it.
when you first came here, because it was nothing like it looks nothing like it does now.
Absolutely nothing like it. As a matter of fact, I didn't even come here.
Oh, really?
It was bought sight unseen.
You didn't even look at it?
No. Pictures
Yeah?
we actually had a look at, but
Okay.
we certainly, no, it was sight unseen.
So what did you think when you first walked into the place? Were you happy? Were you going, this is a challenge?
I thought, oh my goodness, what on earth has he done? And this wasn't until after he actually passed away. So the first time I came up here.
Okay.
So we had a leasee in here, bought the lot, it was paying rent, and
Yeah.
that's what we were looking at. We weren't actually looking at running the business ourselves, we just wanted it for the actual rent.
I'll spend a fortune, we won't say how much, and renovate and turn this into a beautiful establishment here in Beverley. And the work you've done is absolutely sensational. When was the Freemasons Tavern actually built? I believe it's one of the oldest buildings here in Beverley.
It's over 130 years old. It was actually first built in 1878, but it was only just a little shed type of a hotel. They actually renovated it and built, I think, the second story on it in 1905.
Right, okay.
And from then, from 1905 right through till 2009, I don't think much was done to it at all. I don't know the full history,
Yes.
but most of it, there was nothing done to it.
And I look at this place and you can see woven into the tapestry here the old and the new. You've done it so tastefully. That must have been a real challenge, deciding which bits you're going to blend with the new. How did you come up with all this?
Well, I think it was mostly Steve's ideas.
Okay.
Steve has got a vision, and he had the vision of what he wanted, and then put it past me, and I said, yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
And we just went from there, did a little bit at a time, and it took, as I say, nearly 13 months to come up with the finished product.
You come through the doors in that beautiful staircase that you've...
Just amazing.
It is, isn't it?
Absolutely amazing.
It's-
That was about a 3-month situation because we actually had it sanded right back. We had it French polished, and then Gina came up and she didn't like it. So she said it's still too dark and
Yes.
doesn't really show it off.
Right.
So we sanded it all back again and decided to paint it white.
And the other pieces that catch my eye are the LED lighting in some of these windows, Daphne.
The LED lighting is absolutely amazing. A lot of it was damaged, and we actually used a local gentleman named Dave. I don't know what his last name is, but
Yeah.
his first name was Dave, very nice, and he's called Art in Glass.
Right.
And he came in, had a look at it, and he said, yeah, I can do it.
And then you've gone, we're Australian, and behind us at this bar, this timber work is stunning.
It's absolutely amazing. That is an old sheep shed and fencing.
Really?
From down around Borden area.
Yes.
And we actually got that given to us at a clearance sale because there was nothing you could do with it. And it's been sanitised, then sealed.
Yeah.
Because as you can
Since it
imagine,
came out of a
it came
sheep
out of a sheep shed. Yeah. And then the design of it, that's from Steve as well.
Oh,
Made
he
the
has
decision.
done an amazing. Now, Steve is also the head
Steve's
chef here as well.
He's the head chef here. He's also, along with his wife Gina, the leasee.
And we'll go into the dining room. We'll show people what the dining room looks like. You've got casual dining. Do you have a favourite spot yourself here? It must be difficult.
My favourite spot's up in the corner up there because then I can have a look around absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And just sort of say, oh my goodness, just how well it's been done.
It certainly has. The beer garden outside has been done at a level that you would expect in a luxury establishment anywhere in a metropolitan area. Nevertheless, you brought it out into a country
Absolutely.
town
Yes.
like this.
Yep.
Steve's got the food going on. Now,
certainly
I've
has.
got to say, I snuck into the kitchen and had a look at this state-of-the-art pizza oven you've popped in there.
Incredible. It
Yeah.
really is. And that can cook just about anything. It's not just for cooking pizzas.
Oh.
You can change the controls and cook a beautiful steak. And you can either do your steaks in rare, medium, or well done. And it cooks all the vegetables and everything as well.
And the other thing I noticed, you put a state-of-the-art coffee machine in here.
We certainly have, because this day and age, there's people that don't want to drink and they just want to come and have a coffee. So the machine's gone in and the coffee is amazing,
Yes.
beautiful. I think Beverly needed somewhere really nice that they could go out for dinner or go out socially. Well, hopefully in the future we can have weddings here. Sort of people can go somewhere for anniversaries, that sort of thing, Christmas parties, and it's just nice to have the old along with the new.
What do you want to do with it?
Well, just really want it to be a country pub that people can come and have a beautiful meal and they can even stay here. Yes.
So your plan is now to make this somewhere where people can come, they can have they can see the gorgeous countryside and the different features around Beverly itself, and then be able to supply them really beautiful accommodation that's going to match
Absolutely.
what is here as well. And you've got two of them up and running. I bet they're booked out, aren't they?
Yeah, one's mine.
So, all in all, Daphne, when you walk through the place, if someone was to ask you what it is like, how would you describe the Freemasons Tavern to someone who hasn't been here?
It's hard. It's got ambience. It's interesting to look at. The bars are just beautiful, and yeah, it's just a nice place to come in and have a drink or to stay.
Yes.
And the meals are just to die for.
And considering we are only an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you drive slow like me, 2 hours out of Perth, but it's not too far to come. And there's lots of things to see around Beverley and the surrounding countrysides as well.
That's true. And even things like Perth Rotary clubs and that can make it for a weekend. And the Rotary Club I belong to in Rockingham is actually coming up on the 31st of May.
Wow,
For a
that's
weekend.
going to be exciting.
It is, yes. So we probably have about 20 to 25 people from that club coming up, and hopefully from that we can get more clubs coming up. It's good for a bike ride. There's a lot of people that down south that have got motorbikes. They're not bikies, they're bikers.
Yes.
And they like somewhere to be able to sort of ride to, have a meal, and then take the afternoon to ride back.
So this is the Freemasons Tavern in Beverley. Now you're on the main street, I believe.
We're
here.
on the main street, yes, Vincent Street in Beverley.
Yes.
And down near the bridge. So you've got to go right along the actual main street to find us.
Well, the atmosphere is right. I mean, I've met Steve a few times now. I've met the staff, and they're warm, they're welcoming. One thing that struck me, it was almost like walking in. I know it's the pub, but it's almost like walking into your own home. It's like you're with friends.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Very cosy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the typical. I think sometimes you think of a country pub as just those big open spaces, great big long bar. They're dusty.
Yes.
This is being cozy, very family friendly, and absolutely beautifully done.
Well, hopefully in the future we can have weddings here. Sort of people can go somewhere for anniversaries, that sort of thing, Christmas parties, and it's just nice to have the old along with the new.
Wow, what a great show. That Beverley little mini documentary there as well. Just for something different, Gerhard?
Again, like we said in the beginning, it's all about freedom, it's all about that confidence. Get out there, get your message out there. If you're not going to do it, nobody's going to know about you.
And I think that's the thing, when we wanted to show that, because that took a lot of confidence to invest all that money to redo the Beverley, or do the Freemasons Tavern out there in Beverley, because that's a big investment and a big risk, I suppose a lot of people would say. So again, it's just really re-emphasizing people trusting their gut instinct, people having the confidence and having a go. And again, it's how you think will determine your outcomes. And I think that's what we want to bring on this show, is to give you all these successful people's way of thinking so you can start matching them, because as we say, success leaves clues.
For me, is having this voice. You never know that you meet that one person that gives you that one opportunity and that one deal to make you successful. But that will not happen if you're not out there and people don't know about you.
Absolutely. Look, and if you need support doing this, why not check out our mentorship program on our website? I'll put the link underneath. And just as important, why don't you just contact us and say, look, you'd like to come on to 101 Business Radio. We're on iTunes, we're on all different platforms all around the world. It runs 24/7. It's business interviews mixed with great music, and we talk to people from all around the world. So why don't we start talking to you? Well, Gerhard, what a show. I keep trying to look to my right-hand side, Gerhard, and I'm just looking at a wall.
It's just habits. It's just habits.
I look to speak to you, and I look before and went, oh, it's just a wall, he's not there.
I'm glad you missed me, Michael.
I do, I miss you. Oh dear. Well, on that note, I don't think there's a better time to just say it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.